The egg cracked like a whispered thunder, and heat rushed from the shell as if the world exhaled. A single golden eye opened inside, round and bright, and it looked at me as if I were a promise. On its shell, a rune burned the shape of a spiral, and the same spiral flared on the inside of my wrist. My name is Kael, village smith's son, ordinary until the day the last dragon chose me. People say last when they want to be cruel or careful. Both are true in our age. Kings burned nests, guilds hunted scales, and even mages locked dragon bones in vaults to bargain with storms. The hatchling sneezed a puff of sparks and fell asleep in my arms, lighter than a fear and heavier than a vow. I named her Ember, and the name liked her, fitting on the tongue like a blade in the hand. I did not know the cost yet, only that I would pay it. We left the village before dawn, because dawn makes hard choices easier to walk with. If you're new to our magic, hear this. Names hold shape, oaths hold weight, and a bond marks you like ink that thinks. Ember grew fast in days that tasted of smoke and river water. I learned to feed her fish and silence. Word of a hatchling travels quicker than crows. The Ash Guild sent riders with iron nets that stank of cold spells. We hid in the whispering forest, where leaves carry news to those who listen and roots remember old steps. An old witch named Leora found us first, not the riders. She wore a shawl of fern and a smile that knew too much. The world will betray your hope, she said. So carry two. One for breaking, one for keeping. She gave me a rune sling for Ember's chest and a 3-word charm. Hide, hush, heal. It worked until it didn't. At the forest's edge, we met a friend from home, Taryn, my fellow apprentice, leading the Ash Guild by mistake or design. He looked at Ember and saw a coin, then looked at me and saw a debt. Forgive me, he said, reaching for the net. I did not forgive him. I cut the net rope, shouldered Ember, and ran toward the river as hooves hammered the path like war drums. We leaped from a fallen pine into white water, and the current took us like a secret eager to leave. The river fed the mirror marsh, where fog copies you and the ground chooses favorites. We chose stones that remembered feet. In the marsh, Ember's eyes shifted from gold to green, and I learned the color meant worry. About me, not herself. I will keep you safe, I promised, and felt the spiral on my wrist warm, as if the bond were nodding. We climbed out onto dry land and followed the old road to the storm spires. 3 broken towers where mages once braided lightning into light. A monk named Saran kept watch there, alone with bells and a kettle. He didn't startle when a dragon sniffed his sandals. All guardians are chosen twice, Saran said. First by chance, and then by the choice they make after the first mistake. He warned me that the Ash Guild used chains of vow, silver links that fasten to your promise and drag it toward their will. If they catch you, Saran added, they'll make you swear to protect their profit, and the words will obey before you do. We left before sunset. The road turned to stone steps and then to raw cliff. Ember climbed better than I did. She laughed the way wind laughs, by gusts. At the pass, Taryn waited with a peace flag and eyes like winter. He had brought the guild's captain, whose smile was all blade. Swear you'll hand over the beast, the captain said, and I'll let you keep your life's work, whatever it is. I saw the trap. Not iron but grammar. I took the chain as if to yield, and looped it around the captain's wrist, snapping the hook on his word, keep. Vow magic turns on the last promise spoken. The chain tightened on the captain's own sentence, and he kept his hands to himself for a blessed minute. We ran again, wind shadows at our heels, and didn't stop until the mountains opened into the high plains of fallen ash. Ember slept heavy that night, head in my lap, warm as an extra heartbeat. I sharpened my father's knife and thought about choices. Some stories say chosen ones are special. The truth is, we are only stubborn. I decided to be very stubborn. Dawn found us at the Cloudbone Eyrie, an old sanctuary carved into white cliffs, bone-pale and wind-hollowed, once home to 1,000 wings. The Airie's gate held a mosaic of dragon scales set in lime, faded, cracked, but still singing a light only eyes can hear. In the center lay a heartstone, the size of a bowl, where guardians swore oaths and dragons touched snouts to greet a home. The Ash Guild reached us at noon. Terran came first, face wrung dry of apology. The captain followed with more chains and fewer words. "You can't save a world with one lizard," the captain said. "But you can sell a legend." "I'm not saving the world," I said. "I'm saving hers." I lifted Ember onto the heartstone and placed my palm beside her talons. The heartstone woke like a drum. A voice not voice filled the chamber, older than language, asking a single question. "What name will you give?" I could say Kael, the name the village gave me. It would be true, but not enough. The spiral on my wrist burned warmer, waiting. A name is a door. Some doors open outward. Some open inward and remove the wall. I chose the door that cost me. I gave my true name, the one my mother whispered once when no one else could hear, and the chamber accepted the weight of it. The vow chains shook like frightened snakes. The captain shouted for archers. Terran flinched and did not draw. Ember roared for the first time. A clear bell of fire, and the heartstone answered with a ring that swept the chains into ash. The captain lunged. I moved with the calm that pain buys and turned his momentum into sky. He went over the ledge. I did not count the seconds. Terran stayed, sword lowered. "I wanted to keep you safe," he said, small as a late thought. "Then start now," I answered. "Walk away." He walked. The guild followed whatever leader they had left, which is to say none, which is to say down the mountain and out of our story. I knelt by the heartstone and felt the empty where my secret used to live. It didn't hurt. It simply wasn't there. Ember touched my cheek with a warm, careful nose, and the bond spiral cooled into a steady ember under my skin. The Aerie stirred. Hidden vents opened, and light ran along the mosaics like water finds a riverbed after long drought. There were no other dragons, but there were songs carved into stone, recipes for courage and flight, instructions for how to be fewer and endure. We read, we repaired, we learned wind with our bodies and sky with our eyes. I made Ember a harness with bells that warned cliffs. I wrote to Leora and Saran in charcoal on bark and sent the notes by hawks that still owe us nothing. Help came anyway. People arrived slowly. A fisher whose nets caught rumors, a mason who remembered arches, a child who brought a burnt feather and hope. We built small things first. A windbreak, a clean well, a promise to speak truth even when it is ugly. Small things hold big roofs. On the third week, Terran returned alone, hat in hand. He did not ask for forgiveness. He asked for work. That was better. I gave him a mason's hammer. Stones remember who lifts them and how. He lifted well. Later, I stood at the cliff edge with Ember and watched the valley breathe. I said nothing because names are precious. Silence can be, too. We are not saved, we are saving. There will be hunters again, and fear, and nights when the wind lies about the weather. But we have a place, a bond, and a dragon who is not alone. That is enough to begin. If you want more tales from this world and others, subscribe, leave a like, and share this story with a friend who loves dragons and guardians. Tell me in the comments, what would you trade to protect something that can't protect itself? See you in the next journey.